Hello, friends. Welcome to episode 30 of the Kpop Weekly Podcast with Emily Mallon. I'm your host. I'm happy you're here. Thank you for joining me. For new listeners and viewers, I do this show weekly. Episodes come out on Friday morning at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. For my loyal listeners and viewers, thank you so much for tuning in for yet another week. This is going to be a fun week. I wanted to talk about D.O.'s new album from EXO. I was on a break a few weeks ago when it came out, and I decided, you know what, I have to review this one. So we're going to do that this week. I also have the debut of a new JYP group, a J-pop group called NEXZ. And I want to talk about BI. Y'all know I love BI. BI released a new song and music video. I'm going to give you my thoughts on that. Plus, there's tons of news happening in K-pop right now. And I attended RIIZE Fancon here in LA a few nights ago. So I'm going to give you my review of that and share my thoughts on what that experience was like. Before we get into that, we have to answer some poll questions. Each week I ask poll questions on my Patreon. Please feel free to join the Patreon and vote. It's free and we have a wonderful community. It's just kind of a nice place for us to talk about our unfiltered opinions on things I talk about on the show and just new releases. So head on over to Patreon. Only a couple questions this week. Last week I reviewed ZB1 and I thought the pre-release single Sweat was infinitely better than the title track, Feel the Pop. So, of course, I had to ask you what you thought. 20% of you preferred Feel the Pop, but an overwhelming 80% of my community voted for Sweat. Sweat is the better song. Sweat should have been the title track. We all agree, or 80% of us do. And then I wanted to ask you, which EXO solo release are you most excited about? I mentioned Dio. I'm going to talk about his new EP tonight, but we have new music from Suho and Chen coming out in the next couple weeks. Okay. Poor Chen got 0% of the votes. Suho, 17%. And Dio got 83%. So this poll really helped me narrow my focus this week to do this review. I want to talk about it, and clearly you guys do too. So we're going to do a full review of his new EP. But I have to be real with you. I would vote for Suho in this one. I think I may be Suho's number one fan. I love his solo releases. New song came out with Wendy this week. I decided to wait. I'll review it all when the album comes out. So you'll have to wait for reviews of Chen and Suho, but tonight we've got Dio. Thank you for participating. And if you want to participate, head on over to the Patreon. If there are times where I take a week off the show, the discussion is still going on Patreon. I'll keep it updated with poll questions and stay connected. So join the Patreon. Speaking of show announcement, I will be traveling. Freddie and I are heading back east next week. So, first time flying with my diabetic dog. Fingers crossed that goes well. So, there will not be a new show next week. I will keep you updated, but I want to give the disclaimer now because I know there's a lot of releases coming out. Best believe I will be back to talk about aespa. I'm not going to not review that. I will get to everything I missed, but just a disclaimer, no new episode next week. Okay, let's get into the show because I do have a lot to talk about. So I want to start with RIIZE. If you're unfamiliar with RIIZE, RIIZE debuted on SM last year. They're a 7-member boy group, 6 members right now. I believe it will be 6 infinitely. I hate that something really unfair happened with Sunghan was put on hiatus indefinitely, and they've moved forward as a group of 6. I have a whole video. I'll link it if you want to watch my thoughts from months ago on if he would be coming back, why or why not. As of now, he is still not back with the group. They are moving forward as 6 members. So they're doing something now. It's fan concerts. And I've seen fan concerts quite a bit in Korea. You see your favorite groups do these fan meets, fan concerts. But over here in the States, it's traditionally concerts, it's not fan meetings. So this was my first time seeing a fan meeting. I think for RIIZE, it makes sense because they don't have that much material. Um, so the way it works is they'll perform one or two songs and then they sit and like talk with the audience. They play games. There were a lot of games with RIIZE. They did TikTok challenges, a three-legged race, things of that nature. And then they'll do maybe a couple more songs. They did cover songs. They did a cover of One Direction, One Thing, and they killed it. Vocally, they were phenomenal. I will say the FanCon thing, I don't think is my favorite. I would have almost rather had a shorter concert where it was just a concert because you lose momentum when you stop and you talk for 30 minutes. Now the whole crowd is sitting down, the energy in the room gets deflated. So I'm not sure if fan cons are the best thing moving forward. Again, I would have just put in more cover songs and dances. I wouldn't have been mad with an hour and a half show of that as opposed to, 2.5 hours where a lot of it is talking. And there's obviously, I think it also kind of takes away even more because you have like the translator and things that might get lost in translation and stuff like that. So I will say I'm not a huge fan of fan cons. I think if I had the option of a traditional concert or a fan con, I would go to the traditional concert. That said, let's talk about what they did music wise, because that's what I do. I review music, I review concerts and album releases. So, fan stuff was fine. It was fun. I think a lot of the fans probably enjoyed it. It's just not my cup of tea. Um, they were impressive as performers. I have to say, in person, RIIZE are way taller than I expected. They're a tall group. Really, like a lot taller than I was expecting. Very handsome, not a surprise. This is an SM group, ladies and gents. SM, in my opinion, always have the best looking idols. I think, like, person for person on all the labels, SM would win the beautiful, handsome, best looking contest. These guys, all six of them, were very handsome in person. So they were striking visually, great dancers. They have such hard choreography and it's really fun to watch in person. They brought a lot of attack and energy to the stage that I appreciated. You could tell they want this. They're working hard for this, and I appreciate that. There's no going through the motions. It was impressive. But what really took me, it was the vocals. Vocally, very strong. They delivered live, stable, strong vocals. And again, that should be the norm, but it's not in K-pop at this point. So it was refreshing. It was really nice to see, oh, their mics are on, and in this hard choreography, they're still singing live. That's hard to do, and they knocked it out of the park. Sohee is obviously a great vocalist. That didn't surprise me. But all of them can sing. All of them, even the so-called rappers, Sungchan, Shitaro, when their parts came up, they could sing. And I thought Sungchan was particularly impressive doing the One Direction song. I think he has a lower register that's great. I hope he gets more chances to show that off. My standout, however, was Anton. Anton has a really nice tone. I like his instrument. There's some old school like soul that comes through when he sings that I don't think has been translated into their songs quite yet. But live, I was like, ooh, what is this? So he stood out to me vocally. Obviously, Shotaro is the dancer. I think he's one of the best dancers in K-pop, if not the best, period, right now. I'm not sure how many idols could go toe to toe with Shotaro right now when it comes to dancing. it's a joy to watch because you just see like his whole body express every movement, every emotion. It's really special and fantastic to watch. So that was phenomenal. I also have to say, Unsuk, I always say his name wrong. He stood out to me as a dancer quite a bit. He was shining in a few of the choreographies. I kept looking at him. I'm like, wait, is that Shitaro? He killed it. He's a really strong dancer and a powerful presence, specifically when he's center. So I thought all of the members stood out. The only negative, SM, their stylists were trying to sabotage. They are trying so hard to sabotage these boys. Have you guys seen Shitara's new haircut? It looks like when you're a kid playing with Barbies and you just keep cutting. I mean, there's just lines and layers that aren't the most flattering. Does he look handsome and cute? Yes. But there was no reason to give him that haircut. So they're on my bad list. Also, Wanbin was killing it with the longer blonde hair. They also gave him a short layered thing that it's fine. I'm being nitpicky, but you all know how specific I am with freeing the forehead and like not sabotaging people with horrendous hairstyles. So their stylist really said, you know what? For the American leg, I'm going to make sure to do the worst haircuts I can think of on Shotaro and Wanbin. Guess what? It didn't work because they both still look handsome and killed it and rocked it. But don't think I didn't notice what you were doing, stylist. And Unsuk, his hair, his bangs were to here. They did the Tae from BTS. His bangs were here, you guys. You could barely see his eyes when they did close-ups. I'm not exaggerating. And then on top of it, they like round brushed, dried them like, bowl cut from the 80s. Stop doing that. Stop giving these guys these poofy Golden Girls hairstyles. It's ridiculous. Is ridiculous. So actually their stylists get a big thumbs down from me because a lot of the hair did not work. I also didn't think the outfits were great. The first ones, I get the 90s throwback, but I think you could have executed it a little bit cuter. So that's my nitpicky stuff. That's just on the styling team. The members killed it and they're really handsome and talented in person. So I would say if you have the opportunity to see RIIZE, go see them. Know what you're in for if you go to a fan con. It's not a concert. It's like watching them play games and talking for kind of half the time. So if you're cool with that, which I think 99% of fans probably are, definitely go. They're very charming. But just be aware because it's a different vibe from a regular concert. So massive congratulations to RIIZE. You all know I'm a huge fan. I was lucky enough to see them their debut first performance ever at KCON last year. I loved seeing them now in a short period of time. There's already been so much growth. I think confidence and synergy as a group is there. It's exciting to see. So congratulations to the members of RIIZE. I would pay for a ticket to a RIIZE concert again. It was a great show. Let's move on. It's time to talk about Dio. Kyunsu. Kyunsu. I never say his real name. It's such a like weird thing in K-pop with the groups you're really comfortable with. You say their real names instead of their stage names a lot of the times. But for whatever reason with EXO, I've always been very strict about like keeping it to stage names when I talk about them on the show. And I love EXO, so I'm not sure why. I'm very formal with those guys. Maybe it's a respect thing. But Dio, his real name is Kyunsu, and he's going by that in this release. Like it's on the music video and stuff. So apologies if I keep saying D-O. I'm a creature of habit. But if you don't know who he is, he debuted in EXO on SM Entertainment in 2012. He is part of, in my opinion, the best vocal line in K-pop, girls or boys. The best vocal line is EXO, and he's on that vocal line. So this guy can sing. This is his third solo project. It's called Blossom, the third mini album. He gave us 6 songs, and the title track is called Mars. Okay, I'm going to be real with you. This song grew on me. When I first listened to it, I was like, it's okay. I like it. I'm not in love with it. And then the past couple weeks, I've listened more and more and more and more. And now I'm listening to that song every single day. It's on my morning playlist. I like it. I like it. It's kind of adult contemporary, right? It's like easy listening. I would put it into that genre, but there's a brightness in the chorus that kept it from being boring or uninteresting. I love the chorus in this one. I really do. And it'll grow on you. It'll sneak up on you and it stays in your head. And it also just kind of puts me in a good mood. So I'm a fan of this one. I love the ooze in that chorus. This is kind of a feel good song, but not an in your face feel good song. This is like starting your day, getting up in the morning, making your coffee. It's not jarring. It's not coming at you like, wake up, be happy. No, this is like, hey, it's going to be a good day. Let's ease into the day type of song. That's what I would put this one as. Um, it's also a little more uplifting than his last title track. It feels a little bit more bright, maybe a little more optimistic. I'm not sure if that's the right word, but there's something here that feels a little bit more lighthearted. So I appreciate that. I think it's nice to have levels in your work, and this one was a little bit different. I liked this more than the pre-release track. The pre-release track was Popcorn. It was fine, but I think Mars is it's a better song. This was right for the title track for this album. Vocally, it's easy for him. It's easy for him. Obviously, he's from XL. Of course, he's a great singer. And if you've been following his career, you know how talented he is as a vocalist. He has a really nice tone. And what I like about him, though, there's a lot of restraint in his delivery, in his performance. And I think it comes from taste. I think he has really good taste. He kind of knows who he wants to be as an artist. He can do runs and he can scream and he can show off, but he rarely does. And in this song, there's no straining or crazy runs, but there's some nice subtle ad libs towards the end that I think are really effective. So there's kind of a class and sophistication about what he does that I appreciate. Let's talk about the music video. Very cute. He is this nerdy guy and he puts together tons of beautiful flowers and like rides his bike. That's how kind of the thing starts. And it really fits what I picture for this song. It's really like on point with the sound of this song. You watch him get ready in the morning and then he's putting all these flowers on a bike and taking them to someone or somewhere. And he goes like on top of this hill, kind of a makeshift like satellite station on top of this hill. And we learn he's communicating with someone or something. It could be an alien. In Mars, like it makes sense. It makes sense with the song. And it's very cute. And at one point he spells out, I miss you with the flowers. And then he gets these like little notes from, I guess, the alien, the universe, God, who knows? But it's very, very cute. And it's very bright, lighthearted. It's cute and it's nerdy. And I don't know. It feels very appropriate for him. I might say he's a little nerdy and he's definitely cute. So I think this music video goes well with the song. And visually, it was fun to watch. Let's get to the album. He gave us 6 songs. I think this album grows on you in total. I think there's a lot of really nice stuff here. And if you're a fan of him, you probably really dig it. There's a lot of good tracks. I think this is a solid project. My album picks are Good Night and About Time. Okay, Good Night. Beautiful, vulnerable, connected delivery. The opening verse where it's just him and a piano, it's so tender and pretty. And he's really good at that. He understands emotional connection so well. I've thought that since I've been reviewing him and his previous solo releases. There's an emotional maturity, empathy. There's something there where like this guy gets it and it pulls at your heart. And on top of the lyrical content, he has this way of delivering that makes you lean in. And it's also just technically so sound. I think it's one of those things that if you're not a singer and if you don't know about music, you may not realize how difficult some of the stuff he does really is because it's very subtle. There's a lot of mature restraint here. This is not the guy belting, doing a million runs to show you he's the best singer. It's very controlled, but he has such stable, beautiful vocals. It's very impressive, really beautiful. And it feels like it comes easy to him. There's no straining, there's none of that. It just flows and it's so easy. So I loved Good Night. But now can we please talk about time? Oh my God. You guys. Oh, this one is like, oof. I mean, I love really heavy, emotional, sad songs. If you're new to the podcast, that's kind of my jam. Music moves me in a way that nothing else does. And it will strike a chord with me emotionally from time to time. I've definitely cried in the podcast talking about songs. This freaking song, my God. Okay, let's just talk about the song. The piano chords immediately got me. I knew, oh, this is so heavy and sad. This is sad. I don't need to read the lyrics. I know how sad this is. Beautiful. Beautiful. And again, you're getting that vulnerable, connected delivery in the verses. But when his voice opens up in the chorus, stunning. Such control with so much emotion behind it. And I feel every single second. I feel every single second of what he's singing, and it rips my heart open. It's like so freaking painful. I felt the pain when that voice opened up in the chorus. Beautiful, devastating, really well done, and very effective. And the lyrics, like I already knew. I was already like devastated listening. And then I read the lyrics. And I'm not going to talk about them tonight because, to be honest, I don't feel like having a breakdown on air this week. The lyrics are very sad. Very sad. And again, it's like he gets human nature. He gets certain scenarios that people may not be able to put into words. And then you hear it and it's like, that's exactly how I feel, or that's exactly how I felt. And that's exactly what I wish. And like, it's such a gut punch, but there's also that emotional release when you hear someone talking about something, or specifically in this case, singing about something that is so personal to you and relatable. It's almost too painful at times. It's like, oh my God, does this person know my situation? Are they living through the same thing? Because this is like, ugh, ouch, 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 ouch. But at least for me, it gives an emotional release. It gives like there's something to be said about emotions or energy that we're storing in our body. It's being held in. And when you cry, that kind of energy gets released. So it's not like blocked in your body anymore. I feel like with songs like this, it's like that release, at least for me. I full on ugly cried listening to this song and reading the lyrics. It's stunning, completely broke me, but I'm not mad at it. I think it's so beautiful. And I'm grateful that artists perform songs like this and go there, because it gives people, not just people like me, but people listening, watching, people around the world, that opportunity to relate and to let go. And I think we all need that in today's world specifically. Things are heavy. So even though I ugly cried and it broke me, About Time is phenomenal, really beautiful. Oof. And it's funny because I was listening to the whole album and I was like, oh, look at this. This isn't even that depressing. He's really just turning over a new happy leaf on this one. No, 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 no. Surprise, surprise. You were going to ugly cry with this last song. I see you, and I actually love it. I appreciate it. It was a real switch up. Um, this whole album, it's good. I think if you're a fan, you're gonna love it. And if you're not a fan, I think it's really pleasant to listen to. And vocally, he's a star. So I would highly recommend it. It's time for my rankings from D.O.'s Blossom, the third mini album. This is from least favorite to favorite. But if you just listen to my review, you know that I really, really liked this. I think it's a great EP. I highly recommend it. So I don't dislike any song on this project. This is just by a little bit. Number 6, Simple Joys. Number 5, the pre-release track Popcorn. Number 4, My Dear. Number 3, Good Night. Really beautiful. Number 2, the title track Mars. I like this. I like the song. I like the music video. Put it on your morning playlist. But my number one song from this release had me ugly crying, full out sobbing, About Time. Oh, beautiful and heartbreaking. So thank you for that. Thank you for that release. Thank you for the beautiful songs. Dio is so talented. Like, obviously, if you don't know, if you're not an EXO fan, best vocal line in K-pop. And this was a good release. So congratulations to him. I really liked it, and I think fans will too. Let's move on from a K-pop veteran to a brand new group. We're talking about the debut of boy group NEXZ. It's spelled NEXZ. It's like next generation. It's supposed to symbolize kind of Gen Z and like the next thing. They are a 7-member Japanese boy band. They were put together on a reality show. They had a pre-release single in, I think it was like December, but this is their official debut under JYP. Young group. I think they range in ages from like 16 to 18. I may be wrong on that, but these are like high school kids. The debut, it's a single album. They gave us 2 songs. And the title track is called Ride the Vibe. There's a lot going on with the beat here. It's different. So I give it credit for that. They're giving us something a little different in the verses. There's a lot of switch ups. There's just a lot happening. I have to say, though, the production seems to be the star of the track here, not the actual members of the group. And I'm not sure if that's the right call for a debut. I think there's trying to be a little too tricky with this. And it may not showcase the members as much as they could have if they peeled back some of it. But the chorus finds its groove and it works. And I like the pre-chorus too. I really like the pre-chorus. The verses just kind of didn't work for me. But I thought the chorus, pre-chorus work. This will probably grow on me. But because of the nature of the song, again, I wasn't able to really pick out voices that stood out. So I don't think for the debut, that's like the smartest way to go. I think for a K-pop debut, any debut, you want to really showcase the group. You want to showcase the vocal talent, everything, as much as possible in the song. I want to hear that voice that makes my ear perk up and go, oh my God, who's that? He can really sing. Or, wow, this rapper guy has a really strong flow. I'm impressed. I want that. So when the production is the star, you lose that. They're kind of in the background of the song. So, not my favorite debut, but that's no shade to the group or the members. Let's talk about the music video because I think the music video is better than the song. It was young and fun, but instead of a lot of these K-pop music videos where they're very boy next door, these were like the bad boys next door. They still looked kind of cute and wholesome, but they were like running from the cops and doing kind of like bad, innocently bad things. So it felt a little more like these are bad boys. These are They're a little different. They're a little spicy, and I'm never going to be mad at that. Who doesn't love a bad boy? Maybe there's people that don't. Maybe this is why my dating history is a disaster. I don't know. But the bad boy always wins in my eyes. I love the choreography here. I love this choreo. I think the choreo is so smart and well done and well placed. There's a lot of levels with it. It's not all one thing, it's not all one note, it's not all the same thing. I really appreciate when they ground it and they just groove. It's very, very cool. And it feels a little more mature and grown up than their ages, but not in a way that's like inappropriate. So I think they hit a really sweet spot with the choreo. Also, some like impressive breakdancing. I mean, they're talented dancers, no surprise here. The styling works. They look really handsome. And again, they're kind of like the bad boy next door. They're still like wholesome and age appropriate, but cool and handsome. So they killed it with the styling. I specifically like the black outfits in the night scene. When they're dancing, they look great. And this is a very good looking group. Really, seven handsome young men. So shout out to the team and the stylists and the director. I didn't love the song, but I really liked the video and it made me like the song more. So to me, that's the point of the music video. So yeah, the video worked. The other song was called Starlight. And on this one, I liked this one more, just to be blatantly honest. This was kind of easier to digest. They weren't trying to do a million switch ups. And I could hear their individual tones more on this song. I could hear the members more. So I like this. I actually think this was good for a B-side. Um, Kind of jury is still out on this group. I'm always excited to watch groups debut. I think it's very exciting to see a new group and what their sound is and what they look like and how they perform and what they're like together. It's so exciting. I love reviewing debuts. This title track wasn't my favorite, but it may grow on me. Sometimes stuff kind of feels jarring or you at first don't like it, and then it becomes like your favorite song a year later. So that could be the case with this one. I don't think it's bad. It just didn't totally work for me. But I think they're really talented, really talented. And again, they've got this nice little thing where they're not the cutesy good guys. They're not trying to be too old and sexy. They're towing the line of age appropriate bad boy. I think it's smart marketing. I like the direction for this group. So totally here for it. It's hard to pick a bias because I only have one music video to work from. But to be honest, Tomoya stood out the most in the music video, but also You grabbed me. So I would say those two right now are like in line for bias wrecker. But again, that'll change probably because I only have one thing to go off of. You never know though. Some of these groups, my bias has been the same from the second I've seen them. So we'll see. We shall see. Congratulations, though. You debuted. You freaking did it. Like, and these are guys that, were trainees and went on reality show, competition show. That's such a grind. That's so grueling mentally and physically. Just massive congratulations to anyone that gets through. And congratulations to these 7 young men. Let's move on. I want to talk about BI. BI debuted in the boy group Icon in 2015 on YG Entertainment. He was their leader and he left the group in 2019. And he's been a solo artist ever since. I've reviewed VI on this show quite a bit. I'm a massive fan. I think he's so talented. And to be honest, he's also just like ridiculously good looking. So that kind of draws you in. He is a star. He's a superstar. So I was very excited about this one. The song is called Tasty. Okay, fun beat here. It definitely feels like a little bit of a throwback. Maybe like, Y2K, 2000s, early 2000s rap. He even like references 50 Cent's Candy Shop. He name checks Missy Elliott. So the sound is there. I totally get what he was going for. And I'm always a fan of that. That's my generation. Of course I'm here for it. I don't think anything in Tasty though is particularly memorable. Not bad, but there was nothing in this song that made me be like, "Oh wow. Oh, this is so cool." It was more just like, "Oh, okay, this is good." So, not bad, but not exciting. I think that could be due to the length of the track. This song is only 2 minutes and 11 seconds. So it kind of just feels like a freestyle more than an actual song. I hate the trend of songs getting shorter and shorter and shorter because you have nowhere to go. There's no bridge, there's no structure that gives you the freedom to like expand and tell a story. 2 minutes and 11 seconds is short. So I think that maybe is playing into why it didn't feel super exciting or memorable to me. Um, that said, it's a kind of a feel good song, a song going into summer. It's just a vibe type of song. And it feels like it was made for choreography. This was made for him to dance to. If you know anything about him, he's such a dynamic dancer. So to me, when I listened to it, I thought this is made for a music video. Let's talk about the music video because I was right. The whole music video is a performance music video, which I love. We don't need a million different set changes, costume changes, storylines, drama. When you have someone as talented as BI, put him out there with dancers, and that's all you need. And they still had change ups that I thought worked really well, but it was a pretty simple concept and it was a performance video. And if you don't know what that means it was like choreography the whole time. It wasn't like acting and doing other stuff. I'm a huge fan. I'm a huge fan of that. And this served as a great vehicle for his talent. He looks cool. He looks handsome, obviously. That guy has never had an ugly day in his life. He looks phenomenal in this music video. I loved the choreography. So, shout out to whoever did this. I loved the different styles of choreo that they threw out. There was a lot happening and it was really, really fun to watch. And it just showcases how talented he is. But I always appreciate when they do different styles within the choreography. And there was one moment that stood out to me of head isolations. It was just so cool. Sometimes the most subtle movements are the most effective. And I thought that was really impactful. I loved it. Very cool. Also, like toned abs. I see you. I see those abs, BI. Yeah, someone's ready for summer. Someone is ready for summer. He looked phenomenal. So the song was okay. The music video was fantastic. And I'm always just happy to get content from BI because he's like so talented and cool. So yeah, I liked it. Not my favorite, but he did his thing. And the music video is fun. So check out the music video for Tasty. Let's move on to some news. Here's what's happened in the world of K-pop since I spoke with you last week. Stray Kids debuted on the Billboard 100 at number 90 with Lose My Breath featuring Charlie Puth. They become the second K-pop boy group to ever have more than one entry on the Billboard 100. They join BTS and girl groups Blackpink, Twice, and New Jeans. So it's a massive accomplishment to chart on the Billboard 100. And now they've done it twice. Their previous was also number 90 with La 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 La. Love that song. Love that song. I want to give a really, really massive shout out and thank you to Stays. I was nervous last week. I don't like giving one of my favorite groups a negative review. And anything other than I love it feels negative to me. But I'm not here to just say everything is good. I think that's really boring. And it's also just not true. So I try my best to give you opinions on songs with reasoning behind it on why it didn't work for me. And Lose My Breath was not my favorite song. Out of all of Stray Kids' catalog, it's probably my least favorite thing that I've reviewed from them. So, of course, I felt extremely nervous putting out the show because in the past, with another group and their fans, anything less than stellar would get, reports on my channel, negative reviews, doxing, death threats, just absolutely unhinged behavior from that fandom. So I think I have some built-in anxiety now when I'm doing a review of a group that's huge and has amazing loyal fans. I can't tell you the difference between Stays and that particular fandom, who I'm sure you can all figure out who it was. Um, all of your comments were nothing but like, yeah, I agree with you. And maybe I liked it more, but this one part, you guys were so kind, and not just being kind to be kind, but kind of pinpointing things that I said that you felt like needed to be said or you agreed with, or even just saying you handled that whole topic really well. I appreciate that from the bottom of my heart. It's really hard to not love something your favorite group put out and then on top of it have boycotts going on, fans fighting, a huge, massive issue behind all of this. It's hard to talk about. So I really appreciate all of the comments left on the YouTube video, the comments sent to me via DMs and different avenues. Thank you. Thank you. I shouldn't be surprised because I think Stray Kids are a different type of group and the fans they attract are different. But I worry as they become the biggest group in the world, a lot of people will be fans for reasons outside of the reasons a lot of us got into it. So I'm a little bit worried, watching their path right now, watching them do this English language song with Charlie Puth and kind of follow BTS's footsteps scares the crap out of me. Because for me, that's when I started falling out of love with being an army and kind of the whole thing. The songs got too watered down for me. Song wise, it just wasn't the group I fell in love with. There was some okay stuff, but things change. And my biggest fear for Stray Kids is that's what's going to happen. And my biggest fear is the fandom's going to become the same. And it's going to be all about charts and numbers and not be about who they are, what they stand for, and what the music is like and why we all love the music. So last week was such a pleasant surprise, and it gave me hope that not only will Stray Kids not go that direction, but Stays are reasonable and can have reasonable discussions. So again, I kind of begged you guys last week, let's stay above the line. Let's not go that route. I feel really positive about it. And I'm hopeful for Stays that we can be a united fandom moving forward. And I just want to thank you all for being so respectful of my review and of my opinion. If you missed it, check it out. It's on the channel, last week's episode. Sorry if that was long winded, but I was anxious on Friday when that review went out. So congratulations to Stray Kids. They're in great company with BTS, Blackpink, Twice, and New Jeans. Also, massive congratulations to aespa. No surprise here. I'm obsessed with Supernova. I've been listening to it nonstop since I reviewed it last week. It is dominating all the Korean charts. It's number one on every single chart. It is killing. So, no surprise. And I think this ups the anticipation for what they're going to do number wise with Armageddon next week. Very excited for that aespa release. Excited. And they've also been getting kind of rave reviews for some performances with live vocals. So, yes, those girls can sing. Congratulations to aespa. Very excited for this album. This news sucks. King Daniel, who we haven't heard from for a while, but who I always review. I'm a real fan of his, and I've always reviewed him back in the New York City K-pop Queen days. That's my old podcast for those of you that don't know. This podcast, I love King Daniel, and I think he's very talented. Haven't heard a lot from him recently, and this news came out this week. He owns his own agency, and the agency is closing. It's shutting down. And from what I gathered, the main shareholder, who isn't him, the person that owns financial stake in like 70% of the company, allegedly stole tons of money from the company and was transferring it to offshore accounts. And it just sounds like a lot of kind of corruption, mismanagement, and things out of his control that led to a real bad place for not only him, but all of the other artists on connect. So that sucks. It's just like, for all of these people who are famous and have some kind of cachet, there's so many sleazy people around them saying, let's start an agency, let's do this. And they're not doing it because they want to do the right thing. They're doing it to get rich and to steal as much money as possible and screw over the artist 9 times out of 10. So I really feel bad for him. It's a tough lesson for everyone watching. Be careful who you do business with. I hope he lands on his feet. He's very talented. So I'm just really sorry to see he's going through this. That's a huge accomplishment to have his own agency and to do all of this, and to have it end like this has to be tremendously disappointing. So sending him a lot of love and support right now. Moving on, TWS has a comeback in June. RIIZE have a comeback in June. Although I will say the rollout is so bizarre. It's a mini album, and we've heard every song except for one. You know, they kept releasing singles, like single, randomly without like a real cohesion for an album. So we knew an album was coming, but then the track list gets released and it's literally everything they've already released and one new song. I don't love that. I'm not sure what the plan is here with SM, but I do love RIIZE. So I'm excited for that one new song. Um, the drama at HYBE will never end. It's too hard to like update you on everything because so much happens every day. This is like, there's 10 headlines about what's going on. I think you all know where I stand on this. Clearly, I'm not a huge fan of HYBE. I have never reviewed that group, the girl group that I won't even say their name on my show, because I knew when I saw them what was happening and I didn't want to give them any free publicity. Their company, however, B-Lift, is suing Min Hee-jin for saying that they copied New Jeans. So HYBE's going after her with their subsidiaries now too. They're funding the subsidiaries to also sue her. That's what I said is going to happen. They're going to ruin her. Nothing will change. And, you know, life goes on and those fans will still support everything HYBE does. Interestingly, it came out that HYBE did the same thing with Cause Entertainment that they're trying to do with Adore. So Cause Entertainment, KOZ, they're the ones that Zico started. That's his agency. And that's Boy Next Door. And I love Boy Next Door. Like, I think they're everything. But this news came out that last year, HYBE replaced the entire executive board, everyone, due to poor record sales. Okay. Let me just say something about this. HYBE is being investigated for chart manipulation and lying about their record sales. That's not a rumor. This is fact. Enough people have gone, on their inflated numbers that are completely fake. That's what it is. You can't tell me that those groups all sold those numbers because it's not true. It's just not true. It's like a blatant lie. So for them to overthrow an entire executive board because of poor album sales, that doesn't track with me because their album sales are fraudulent anyway. So like, what does that mean? It was a power trip. It was the same thing that's happening with Adore. They probably saw that Boy Next Door were really talented, and it's time to cut out the middlemen. Shady. Everything they do and the way they move, not for me. Not for me. And I will say too, if you sit there and go, well, how do you know those numbers aren't real? Because I go to a lot of K-pop concerts and because I'm on this side with publicists and people reaching out to me. Go to those concerts and look at the ones that are sold out and look at the ones with tons of empty seats. Look right now. There's a group on tour that I don't think has sold out one of their dates. And some of them, there's tons of empty seats. There's just a lot of things where you can read between the lines. Like if this group supposedly has charted this many times on Billboard and they sold this many albums, why can't they sell out an arena? When ATEEZ is selling out stadiums, no problem. This doesn't make sense to me. And there's been so much of that in the past few years as I've really been watching the way HYBE moves as a business. So I knew like this is fraud. And when that new group debuted and they already broke records before they even debuted, I'm not buying that for one freaking second. And I made the choice. I'm not going to review this group. This is just total like screams of fraud to me. I don't want to even breathe their name. It is what it is. But I wish people would wake up to it because it's not just one group on that label. It's not just one or two girl groups that I'm talking about. It's a lot more than that. And it's not the group's fault. I think, again, that's the issue. People feel like you're attacking BTS. I'm not attacking BTS at all. I feel bad for them. And boy, they must be relieved that they're away from the public eye and they're in the military right now when all of this is coming out because their sales are being investigated. It sucks for them. They didn't do anything wrong. They weren't like coming up with this mastermind scheme. None of these artists are doing this. This is Bang PD and his friends and his cult leader friends and all of that coming up with all of this. This is what, like, it's people behind the scenes. So I want to make it clear it's the artists here are not involved in the business strategy. They're products that are controlled to bring money to these jerks. That's it. So I never fault the artists here. It's not their fault. Even that the girl group I'm talking about, it's not their fault. These are like 15-year-old girls. Like, give them a break. None of these like kids are involved in this. And it sucks that they get the aggression of fans and they get blamed and kind of dragged through the mud. But at the same point, when you're involved with criminals, when you're involved with fraud, when that's who you work for and that's your company, your legacy will be tarnished, right? So it's like in the NBA or something. It's like in sports when, or like college, let's say college, when a school is found to be cheating, years later, they cheated, they paid players or, whatever the scandal is, that championship will be taken away from that school. That's erased from the record books. The banner is taken down at the gymnasium. And it's devastating because a lot of the guys on the team didn't cheat and now they're being punished. It's the same thing. And it's why in life you want to make smart choices about who you are in business with, who you go to work for, who your friends are, because you are part of that. So unfortunately, there's collateral damage. I just, want to be clear when I'm talking about it, I'm never against BTS. I love those 7 guys. But the company that they're under, yeah, no, screw them. So, a little distinction there in case it's not clear where I stand. And definitely that girl group, I have no ill will towards those members at all. They're literally kids that are being used. But I'm also not going to support them just because they're young girls and they didn't do anything wrong. Okay. That doesn't mean I'm going to support them and give them money. Because again, all the money you're giving these groups that you love, all of that money is going to the corporate greedy people. Like BTS weren't out of debt till what, 2019, 2020? Those members, with everything they did up to then, they weren't making money. So I know you love these groups and you love supporting them, but please be conscious of where your money is going. Anyways, it was a short episode till I started talking about HYBE. Daewon from SF9 announced his military enlistment. I haven't talked about SF9 for a while. I really liked them. I appreciated their performance on Kingdom. There's a new Kingdom reality show coming. Maybe I'll talk about it. Maybe I'll give you my thoughts. Kingdom was fun. It's fun to watch. These groups compete with each other and go head to head, and you can really compare. Obviously, the last one, Stray Kids won. They were phenomenal, but it was really fun for me to be introduced to SF9, to see B2B and other groups who I wasn't like as familiar with. So I recommend watching Kingdom. Anyways, that's all I have for you this week. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for being part of this K-pop world with me. What a crazy, weird world we live in, but I love it. No new episode next week. I'm traveling. Fingers crossed that the journey back east goes well with my little Freddie. Freddie is doing well. Thank you all so much for your thoughts, prayers, and good vibes. It has been an insanely challenging time for me. I'm praying things are turning around and getting better on all fronts. Freddie is doing better. So we've had this week, Freddie slept 6 out of 7 of the nights, which sounds weird, but like he hasn't been sleeping through the night. He's been having a lot of accidents and chugging water and things of that nature. So just to be able to sleep through the night is something I'm so grateful for. So fingers crossed we get more of those nights and I can keep bringing you content. But no new episode next week. I will be back. There's a lot happening in the next couple weeks and I'm going to want to review and talk about. So be sure to tune in, check social media. I usually announce if there's a show or not. But I'm telling you right now, next week, there's no show. So I will talk to you later. Summer is here. We're Memorial Day weekend. Have a safe, happy Memorial Day weekend to my fellow Americans. Let's have a good summer. To everyone listening, let's try to have a really good summer and show some love and light and positivity into the world because what one person does can make a giant difference. So I'm sending all of you some love, light, and positivity. I love you. Thank you for being in my life. Until next time. Mwah. Bye.